Sophie.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to Gaming in the Yeltsin Years, Episode 4.
This isn't Gaming in the Yeltsin Years.
And welcome to the Snack Covenant, Episode Unknown.
So over the Christmas break, I've been digitizing my massive collection of off-air recordings I made in the mid-2000s.
Okay.
So one of the things I backed up was a disastrous Australian talk show called Tench Tonight. And it's very hard to explain. So what I think we should do is we should just watch one of the episodes that I saved.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of vibes are you getting from this?
Like a fun talk show vibe that's also secret agent. Oh my god, it's ChatGPT!
I'm David Tench. Welcome to my tonight.
What is happening?
As regular viewers would know, third world sweatshops should be closed down. We need more local sweatshops.
How are you feeling?
I'm glad I got to experience this part of Australian culture with you, Sophie. But it wasn't very good.
So the reason I wanted to cover David Tench specifically on this channel is that David Tench was rendered live.
He was rendered live? So like the YouTubers do these days?
Yes, David Tench was a VTuber.
Oh my god.
So David Tench is not the first fictional character to host a talk show.
Yeah.
Prior to this, we had Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was animated after the fact. They recorded the interviews and used hand-drawn animation. David Tench Tonight was actually done completely live. There was a guy off-screen covered in little motion sensors. And he is reacting live to the guests, and that is then mapped onto that hideous David Tench CG character. And the interview subjects are watching a screen with David Tench on it. And then the two things are composited together later. So they were actually interacting. And yeah, as far as I and anyone else seems to be aware, this is the first time that had been done. And because of that, it was quite expensive to do.
I can imagine.
As a result of the network investing so much in the technology to make David Tench work, they had no choice but to make an entire season's worth of episodes just to kind of try to break even on it.
You know what they should have done? Should have canceled it after the first episode, and that got Shonda Rhimes to make something to fill in the rest of the time. Yeah, because that's what happened with Grey's Anatomy. It was supposed to be a little filler thing. It's been going for 75 years. It's amazing.
The other thing about it is that they were also banking on the technology being picked up by overseas networks.
Okay.
Not necessarily the David Tench character or actor, both of whom are appalling, but selling the technology to basically do a VTuber on TV in 2006. And no one picked up on that either. And now you can do it for about $500 on YouTube. If that.
Are you ever concerned that Dorothy might one day ditch you guys and join the Rolling Stones? They could do with a new dinosaur.
I like the laughter, looks over at friend, right?
So they did a lot of little, David Tench is coming ads that are very, very similar to, if anyone remembers the Simpsons episode with Gabbo. So I'm going to send you a little screenshot of one of the David Tench viral ads.
Oh no, I'm scared. Some people think iPods are good, but anything that can hold over 10,000 Britney Spears songs must be evil. I don't think she has 10,000 songs, though.
No. I think this really sums up how completely out of touch everything about the show actually was, because the show is from 2006, right? Britney Spears at this point had been out of the limelight for about 3 years. She was not relevant anymore. So there were a bunch of these ads that were hyping David Tench, and at one point they actually made a Wikipedia article about David Tench as if he were a real person.
Okay.
And it was deleted almost immediately.
Viral marketing that didn't work.
Yeah, there's a general sense that, like, the people behind David Tench had an idea, which was, we will do a whole lot of viral marketing for a computer animated talk show host who is like a grotesque parody of a talk show host, right? In a vacuum, you can see that potentially working. The problem is that it was handled by people who we would now call boomers. And they really had no idea how any of this is supposed to actually work, and the thing just died on its ass pretty much immediately. One thing that's actually kind of amusing about watching it back is that the people who made it knew that it was going to be axed, but also that they had to keep making the show to, like, recoup the costs. So the show just openly acknowledges that no one's watching, and they animate David Tench crying at one point.
Oh my god!
And it's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. So, having watched David Tench, what do you think the main flaw in it is?
Just one?
If you had to isolate one problem with David Tench, one reason why it maybe didn't catch on with the public.
You know what? I can tell you why it didn't catch on with me. I can forgive a lot of things because I have no standards. But I just didn't find it funny for a show that's supposed to be funny.
That is a problem. That is a problem. So I was watching it and I was thinking about that. I was thinking about, why doesn't this work? So I think the big problem with David Tench is that, like, there are, like, comedy talk shows, some of which are entirely scripted, some of which are ad-libbed, where the joke is that the host is saying ridiculous things. I'm thinking specifically of, like, Knowing Me, Knowing You with Alan Partridge, and also the Ali G show.
Yeah, I was thinking of that when he was, like, talking, but it was Ali G's funny.
But I think the reason there is that, like, in both those cases, the host doesn't realize how inappropriate they're being. So when they say these things, it doesn't come across as them trying to be offensive. It comes across as them, like, the joke is on them that they would say something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't click.
Whereas what David Tench is saying, it's things that you would expect out of, like, someone who's trying to be Howard Stern.
Was there a fight over who got to be which color? There was in the Jackson 5. Michael won. Yeah, he got to be white.
And I feel like the way that it's written and the way that it's structured around things like that completely undermines the fact that it's live, because they spent all the money and all the resources on having this character who could interact in real time with the guests, but all they are doing is reading pre-written jokes to the guests, waiting for a response, and then reading the next joke. Like, he doesn't actually really interact with anybody on the show. So the entire, like, purpose of the show just doesn't work.
That obsessive? Or is that just me?
That's just you. That's just you, but that's a really good, funny image.
That's a really good, funny image. Poor lady. She's like, I don't know what to say.
No, I just love that the guests are having to humour the host.
Exactly. That's very good.
Funny.
Very good.
Here's a true test of your interest in...
So the guy they got to play David Tench is an Australian actor called Drew Forsyth.
Okay.
Shockingly, he's not actually American, and that accent is fake.
Shockingly.
He's this guy who's, like, he's not a host. He doesn't know how to, like, keep interviews going. He doesn't know how to, like, read the room. You'll notice that in the Wiggles thing, like, the interview keeps dying. And he can't actually get it back on track. He just moves on to the next question.
I don't know if we can even comment.
Okay. All right, let's change the subject. Here's a hypothetical.
Change the subject. Let's change the channel.
Your ad libs are better than his.
You're so cute.
You also notice that at the end of the episode, they show a preview for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Which is already recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So the show is not even live.
Right. Right.
The interviews are taped, and then they would edit them.
Oh, this is edited. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Sophie.
it's edited down. So firstly, you only see the bits that worked, which is the best part of it. But it also means that, like, again, the entire, like, purpose of the show, which was you're interacting live with a cartoon character, is even further diminished.
Oh, no.
Because it's all edited anyway. So just everything about it is, like, hideously mismatched. And you can absolutely see why the thing cratered and no one fucking watched it. But at the same time, as far as we can tell, that is the world's first VTuber. Australia invented the VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
We've contributed nothing else to society, nothing else to culture, but we invented the VTuber, and I want that recognised.
That's a very wiggly jihad, a very wiggly jihad. Maybe not. Okay, while we're going through them...
Anyway, Sin, that was the origin of the VTuber.
Thank you, Sophie.
And by that I mean that someone tried it and it failed miserably.
Aw.
And then about 15 years later, people started doing it on their own, and it was much better. And no one knows this exists, so you can't even really claim it's like the origin, because no one who does VTuber stuff now fucking knows this thing existed. It's not like he built a foundation, it was just an absolute, like, evolutionary dead end. And then it just happened somewhere else.
Oh my god. Ouch. Well, thank you, Sophie, for this wonderful piece of Australian history and achievement.
It's fucking dismal.
Maybe next time we can talk about the Soviet achievements.
Well, yeah, you put someone in fucking space. We made this.